Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, Chip? Man, tonight's exciting. You know why? Because we are going to talk about XRP, but we are going to talk about NFT projects and a specific NFT project, xShrooms, that is utilizing the XRP ledger. I'm excited about this. I like projects that are built on the XRP ledger. I like projects that use XRP. I think there's a lot to it. There's a lot going on in this space. The one thing, Chip, that's going on is much repression as we see coming from the SEC and all those other entities. Man, this space is just exploding all over the place.
Yeah, it really is. And I think it's time to get this puppy started. Let's go.
I think so too. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
And so you prefaced it, Jeff. You prefaced it with a cool project on the XRPL. Let's drum roll, please. But we got to get our sounds done. We bring him in. But this is Jesse, otherwise known as Jebzie. We'll call him Jebzie and Jesse tonight. Jesse, welcome to On the Chain. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Well, thanks for coming on the chain.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor to be on here. I actually remember you guys were one of the very first live streams that I watched, especially dating back to the middle of the summer where there weren't too many sports on. You know, you get finished up with dinner and that 8 to 9 o'clock spot is ready for On the Chain Live.
Boom. I like that too. And yeah, so it's cool. We kind of like the way it kind of came across this was we were looking there was some tweet that somebody put out there that said, well, how about cool projects on, the XRPL? And I was kind of like combing through them, and I sent the tweet to Jeff, and we found you. And I said, man, this is a cool project. So why don't you tell everybody, and we'll show these too. These are pretty cool. And we'll tease it right now, but you did create a special shroom for Jeff and I, which is absolutely really cool too. But tell us a little bit about the project, how it started, how you got into it, and how xShrooms, and what does xShrooms mean, and how did it come to be?
So essentially what this project is, it's an NFT project that's based on the XRP ledger. It's essentially where I create, there's going to be 10,000 randomly generated xShrooms in this instance, and they all have different rarity levels in that matter. So there's several different attributes, different bases, different color schemes, all that, and it's all linked and generated. And then on top of those 10,000, there's also going to be essentially limited edition ones inside of that. When we show a little bit about the art, I could kind of dive a little bit more into that aspect. But yeah, that's pretty much the main base of it, is an NFT project on the XRP ledger.
That is very cool. And I guess part of it, so the X, I guess, does have something to do, some correspondence to the ledger. Is that the whole idea of xShrooms?
Yes, exactly. As XRP, I don't know if you're aware of some other projects, they carry the whole X, kind of like how Apple carried the I. So there's X apps. They also have X addresses. And then this in my project is xShrooms.
I knew I was going to like you, Jesse, when you started mentioning Apple, and we're off to a good start already.
Oh, yeah.
What? I think my headphone cut out.
There's no A in Android, so nobody.
We're talking about oranges?
No, we weren't talking about oranges at all. But oranges? What are you talking about, man? You're out of your mind. Son. So, so just so we can kind of like put a little bit of a face to this, let's throw this up on my screen just so we can kind of like pop through it. And as we go through it, why don't you share like exactly what we're looking at? Because there's some things you had sent over a little bit earlier. And there we go right there. So there is the shroom. It's got a little bit of like a shadow, the cast of the 5 o'clock shroom shadow, I guess.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the first limited, I call it minted and gifted. So essentially once we mint all the unique ones, where that's going to go out to the community, this one's going to be gifted to special community members. So this one, as you can see, is David Schwartz. So pretty much this wouldn't be possible without him, as he's one of the masterminds behind the XRP ledger. So of course the rest of the Ripple team will most likely get their own custom minted and gifted xShrooms.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, as you see, and as you mentioned, the 5 o'clock shadow, his hair.
Yeah, the hair.
So these minted ones or the custom ones have multiple attributes that sometimes you won't see elsewhere. So it makes it even more limited in that aspect. And it's just something to express yourself creatively in that manner.
when you're referring to these attributes and rarity and stuff like that, is it just the NFT itself being rare, or are you kind of tying this back to kind of like trading cards, or is there some other venue that this is going to be tied to, like a game or something, or is it
so that is
artistic value?
Yeah, of course. So it's going to be starting as an artistic value. As I don't want to expand too heavily. I'm a very big supporter of how Brad Garlinghouse with the whole peanut butter manifesto, how he operated with AOL and Yahoo, and that kind of they kind of tried to do too many things at once. So as of right now, we're focusing mainly on that art aspect and building that community up. And as you were mentioning with the attributes, so yeah, they're throughout the whole entire set, certain ones are more rare, and it kind of plays into like how playing cards are and similar aspects like that. Whereas the more rare that is, obviously the higher value. And then that's just only better because now it's on blockchain. And because with blockchain technology, you have proof of ownership. So that essentially you could verify the originality of it. And as well as verifying the originality of it, you could essentially, it expands on because you know the, what's the word I was looking for?
The universe?
There's ownership. There you go.
Ownership.
So ownership. So yeah, essentially proof of ownership as well. So when you're working with these NFTs, this is what Web 3.0 is. It cuts out the middleman. So dating back, think about in the 1990s with our trading cards, where we had baseball cards and stuff like that. You had to make sure it wasn't fake. Sometimes they could get damaged. So things like that. So this is just how the world is moving to a new Web 3.0, and then taking that aspect and storing it onto the blockchain.
Here's a question. Doug is asking what wallet supports this.
So it's actually right now it's on Zum wallet. So Zum it's XRP Labs. I'm a big supporter of what they do. They do tremendous work. So Zum, and because the reason being, Zum has the opportunity to access to XApps. So XApps is going to be essentially how these will be redeemed once XLS20, the proposal is approved in that instance.
Oh, very cool.
And I could also touch on XLS20D if you want. I know that's a little controversy in the scene right now.
Yeah, I mean, we can get. I mean, we can probably get into that. Before we do, I just want to say, so there's Matt Hamilton. There's from
Matt,
there he is right there.
Me being an artist, I watch the Ripple Dev live streams. Don't know half the stuff that's going on, but I'm supporting it all.
I do a lot too. I mean, sometimes it flies over my head, but the capabilities and everything else, and that's part of the part of the fun. So there's some pretty cool stuff. So let's give everybody a flavor. Look at this one here. So this one here, if I'm seeing that right over there, Jebzie, in the top right corner there, I'm seeing the SEC up there.
So it is SEC. It is not the Security Exchange Commission, however.
Okay.
This is SEC.
This
is one of the. No, it's not Gary.
No.
This is one of the first actually trust lines that I noticed in the community. So it's SEC coin, and they go by Super Eagle.
Yeah.
So that's where you get the whole idea that it's an eagle wearing a little Superman costume. So that's a minted and gifted to another community member.
Oh, very cool. Then moving right along, we got this guy right here. That looks like another gifted one right there. Right? It's got the little.
Yeah, this is a little simple gifted one. This is for one of my buddies that helps me out around. He's obviously you could see he's Irish from the Irish flag.
The bandana there, yeah. Yes, yep. We have a lot of Irish fans in here as well. And then we've got this guy right there.
Yep, and that's my personal one. So you have the Japanese bandana with the rockets coming around. You got the crown to represent one of the founders, if you want to say.
Gotcha. And then this thing going on right over here is kind of like just a little, is that like a bite or what is that going on up there? It's like.
Yeah. So if you, I don't know if you have the DNA from the white paper as well. So pretty much 50 or half of them are going to be bitten xShrooms, and the other half are going to be non-bitten. Gotcha, so it's about 5,000 each in that instance. Oh, wow. And you'll see the attributes, they're adjusted for each mushroom top. So it's going to be, that makes it even more rare. So you're not going to see the same attribute exactly the same on both because of that bite mark, essentially.
Sweet. And then we got this one. This one looks, I know this one right here. That's OTC Jeff. That is pretty cool. You threw the logo in the background.
Yep.
Very, very cool, Jeff.
That's very nice. I like that.
Look at that. He's got, and you can see that has no hair, Jeff. I'm just saying. It's like, there's no hair. I'm just saying.
You can tell yours is going to be a little bit, yeah.
That is like a Martian in there or something like that. What's going on there?
Yeah, so this hasn't been seen before. This is one of the other bases. So it has a poison base. So from the other original ones, you could see, and as you guys noticed, it's inspired by the Super Mario mushroom.
Oh yeah.
So this is essentially the poison version of that. So this is one of the rare bases that you could quote unquote redeem.
He's got the bite and he's got the cracked dome.
Yeah, so with the cracked dome, the normal one doesn't have a cracked dome. So that's where a little bit of the variation comes into play.
Oh, very cool. And then we got this one right here.
So this is an alien. So I tried to base it off the movie. So he kind of had his fangs coming in and everything. It also has a couple different attributes, such as the red eyes. That's going to be something that you could see throughout the generated collection as well.
That one's pretty cool. I like how you got like the whole movement on the eyes there. The little things coming off. They're really cool looking.
Yeah, so these are kind of just general bases. There's going to be a lot more limited ones inside of that.
Right.
Here's another poisoned one.
Another poison one. Yeah, that's pretty cool. This one has kind of like a little bit of a pink eye, right? A little pink eye. The eyes are getting affected there.
Yeah, those I call quote unquote stoned eyes. So they're just essentially red eyes, and it also has the dilated pupils. So it has tiny pupils.
Gotcha.
So these are a few more.
And then you might have some half lids on there too, something like that. So here we go. Then we got coming up here. So this is just kind of like an assortment here.
Yep. There's some various ones. There's an Arthur Brito in the middle. The anonymous man with no face.
There you go. Yeah, no one's ever apparently. I gotta ask. I think we asked Matt about that too, Matt Hamilton. So many people have had like, yeah, and he's a real person. It's like, well, there's not one photo exists. There's nothing out there, right? So that's actually really cool. The whole
speculation. Yep,
that's a very cool one right there.
Thank you. Coin Dropper is right next to that. Another awesome XRP community member.
Is that one over here?
That's actually BitBoy.
So
that's our supreme leader of the XRP army.
Oh God, help us all, please. Yeah, maybe he'll just do one Google search. It'll take him about 3 minutes, and then maybe he'll actually do some reading. But he's a good steward. I love the fact that he gets it out to a lot of people, and he puts his spin on it. He gets it out to people, and he's like, hey, these are people that might not know or not care. And he's like, all right, well, BitBoy's into it, and he's basically talking up the project, which is great. So it's all good. But I love his enthusiasm. He is very enthusiastic, and he's built himself a beautiful, channel and following. So that BitBoy, has he seen this yet?
Community.
Yeah,
we're trying to get him to notice. I don't know if he's actually noticed it, but
more importantly, has Matt Hamilton seen it? Is this the first time that Matt has actually seen the Shroom project?
I want to say I believe so. Matt, you can definitely get your own custom Shroom as well. You've been a tremendous help to the community.
Yeah, so he says right there, woohoo!
So here I need to update
you brought
a little
this
bit.
up, yeah. So you had the DNA. Yep.
So there's the unbitten xShroom. So that's the normal one. The other one is the bitten one. The attribute list is on. I don't know if you want to scroll up to the white paper. That kind of has a little bit more. Yep. And then
like kind of looking at your vision.
Yeah. So pretty much our vision, this kind of goes a little bit more past the art aspect, is that we're looking to build this pretty much online community. And I like to call it ODI. I think I kind of coined that a little bit off of Ripple's ODL. So it sounds a little bit more professional than what it is, but it's not that professional. It's essentially just a way that somebody can express themselves creatively online in this new Web 3.0 era, while also kind of keeping more of a private manner to their physical identity.
That's really nice. So I like that, the ODI, the online digital identity, and like you said, that's going to expand. That should be should get that coin that phrase right there.
Yep.
But actually,
As you
some
see,
exists. Yeah, I mean, it's like, the ODI, the online
ODI.
digital.
Yeah,
Like
you go into like
know,
any forums, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, anything that has a community, and you see these users that have essentially images where it's not always themselves, and that's almost a lot of times how we represent to the community, and it kind of plays back into the playing card aspect. How back in the 90s we would always love to show off like our favorite playing card or our favorite Pokemon card. So this is a way to essentially use that to represent yourself in blockchain, pretty much.
So you're going to have different, there's just different variants of your logo.
Yep, some branding stuff.
Is, the airdrop part of it. Can you explain? And then, when we scroll down, I guess you can get into the DNA. You kind of went through some of those. This is what I find is interesting when you get into the rarity aspect and coming up with something that's extremely rare, which is your golden mushroom. Now you've already minted, all 10,000 of these, correct?
No. So that's what I was mentioning before with XLS 20D. So essentially it's a proposal on the XRPL ledger. It's not accepted yet. So with that being said, it can be denied. Our project, along with many others, are waiting for this proposal to go through. Mm-hmm. However, there are other paths to take if it doesn't, as NFTs are a thing on the ledger currently. So we would essentially have to take other paths. But with that being said, just go onto the XRPL grants page, and essentially all these XRPL grants are like NFT marketplaces, the metaverse, things like that are kind of focused to this upgrade on the ledger. So I don't like to say things, but it's almost inevitable that there will be a structural upgrade. It's just how it's moving. But like I said, if there is an instance that it doesn't get accepted and it moves to some other proposal or something in that, there are other courses of action we can take.
So that'll happen for sure.
Yes, exactly. So that kind of ties into the airdrop aspect. This is just for early supporters. So I'm essentially giving away free NFTs. So anybody that was early in that aspect, so the first 10,000, the first 1,000 got 1 token, so which is equivalent to 2 NFTs, and then 0.5 is 1 NFT. So essentially, if you were in the first 3,000, you all have a chance to redeem an NFT that I just essentially gifted to you. That's just building the community. And then the community voted on the third airdrop, and that one actually went to the majority of all 10,000. And it kind of grew up or went very quick. We hit, I want to say 11,000 trust lines within 6 hours.
Wow. Very nice.
How
did you build the community? Like, what was the momentum? Where did it start?
I essentially posted on Twitter and Discord. So with Twitter and Discord, this community is very strong in that aspect. So Twitter, I tagged a couple different people. It started getting retweets, gained a little bit of traction on there. I've heard a couple. It was posted in some other larger community chats. So I think it's called Shilling.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
So there's a couple questions I wanted to get to here. So, Willis says, "Are these purchasable yet?"
No. So, I mean, they are purchasable. You could get in early, and then that's kind of what you were just showing, the XApp. That's going to lead into that aspect. So you could essentially support the project now, and then once we, quote unquote, mint all 10,000 of them, after whichever the proposal goes through or however the XRPL ledger goes forward, then that's when they will be, I'll have a set purchasable straight from the artist as well.
Gotcha. So this right here says, newbie here, what affects the market value of the xShrooms tokens like the ones you airdrop, the sale of the NFTs or the market itself, and how do they affect each other?
I just want to say it's just the community itself creating the value. It's kind of anything with supply and demand. There's 5,000 tokens out. So with the 5,000 tokens and there's a demand for that, however much that demand is, it's only going to fluctuate that value of what the community sees this project is worth.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And I wanted to show this
token?
one. Sorry,
oh, before you throw that up,
that's
what is your
important
token?
Right there.
It's xShroom.
The token is xShroom. Got it. Okay.
Exactly. So it's xShroom, and then you redeem it for a quote unquote xShroom NFT.
Got it.
And I kind of want to touch on the XLS 20D as well.
Let's talk about that.
This proposal is like massive for creators, for users, just for the community in general. I don't know how much people are aware of what it actually does, but pretty much on the ledger now, you have essentially to hold an NFT would cost a trust line. So as many people are aware, it's a 10-to-2 trust or 10-to-2 wallet to trust line. So if you wanted to hold, for example, 30 NFTs, then that would cost you 60 XRP to hold that. So it's not really too beneficial with the current structure as is. With the proposal, it incorporates an NFT token page. So what this page is it allows you to have up to 32 NFTs per trust line. So for example, if you wanted now to hold those 30 NFTs, it's only going to cost you 2 XRP, which is a drastic difference compared to what it is currently. So it just benefits everyone in general. It benefits galleries, collectors, creators, so all of the above. And like I've been getting a little backlash with waiting for this mint, but a good amount of developers are praising me waiting for this because of how much issues that they're kind of going through right now. So, and a bunch of other projects as well. They're like, man, we wish we would have at least waited to hear how the proposal went. So that's kind of why we're putting on a little bit of patience and waiting to hear how it goes.
So here's one. Hans was saying that I just set up my trust line on Zum. What can I expect next?
So yeah, you could go. There's a few different DEX. So as you guys know, the XRP ledger has a DEX. So it's a decentralized exchange, and essentially you could go to Sologenic XRP Trust Kit, I think it's called. Do you guys have that feedback? Sorry.
Yeah, I thought a little feedback. I thought it was like Space Invader or something like.
Yeah, it might be.
Little shrooms trying to escape.
Coming into the live stream. But yeah,
shrooms escaping.
Invaders.
Yeah, there's various apps that you can get on the deck. So there's X apps for this, or you could even sign in online and connect your wallet right away.
Nice. That's awesome. So let me pull this up. So the app that you have over here, there's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The X app NFT design. So click to redeem. So that's confirm. Nice. And then you have the community website. So you said that up right now, the marketplace to buy and sell the xShrooms is not yet live?
Correct.
Okay.
So the marketplace isn't live. We're just essentially putting out updates as we go along, posting essentially whatever the community asks for in that instance. We are actually running a loyalty program as well. So anybody who essentially is loyal to the project will get an X amount of more airdropped to them. So we're just constantly just giving back to the community and spreading out as much as we can to build a strong foundation.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's good. It makes a lot of sense. And so I guess as we're waiting for this, because I know when Flare finally goes, right? So right now we're in the testing phase, with Songbird and trying to on the test net for, what do they call it? The canary net. That's what they're calling it, I believe, right? So as they get there, I know Flare Finance, is it Sparkle? There's another one that's planning on launching on Flare as well. That's going to feature NFTs. They're going to basically build like an Opensea type of experience. And there's another project too. I think it's called 888 or something like that.
Yep, 888 is actually really cool. They have a lot of high end backers in that instance. So I'm super excited for that.
Now, is that going to be a Flare project, or is
Yes, it's based on the Flare ecosystem as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, so I think so. At some point, it's going to get there. It's just going to be a little bit of a wait. Whether it's going to be like Flare, but I think you're right about it's inevitable as far as like it might not get passed right now, but at some point it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, and especially with what we're seeing with on Opensea, yeah, it's great. There's a lot of eyeballs there. There's a lot of great stuff there, but it's almost a oversaturation too. And then the gas fees are the crush your soul.
Yeah. So I'd like to touch on Opensea. Yeah. So Opensea kind of as we're moving towards Web 3.0, it's all producer, consumer, like everyone interacting in that instance. And I don't know if you guys are aware how essentially how a lot of NFTs work is that an artist can incorporate metadata into it. Mm-hmm. So this is how they can get royalties in that instance. And Opensea is they're allowed to freeze your royalties, essentially freeze your project.
Whoa.
And it's not, you look it up. It's right on their website as well. It's kind of, as we were talking before, like instead of taking one step forward, it's kind of just shuffling.
Centralization.
Exactly. So I tried to get into this months back when NFTs were kind of first blowing up. And I went to go mint one of my images, and it was $150 to mint the image.
Oh.
I didn't do it that night, closed it, went back. The next day it was $50. So I'm like, that's a little volatile and that's a little too much. I can't see how this is going to benefit creators. I texted a few people, hey, have you guys gotten into the NFT space? Every single answer was, I've looked into it, but the gas fees pushed me away. So I'm like, how are we going to go into this community aspect when it's just pushing away the general public? And with that being said, I've spoken to a few artists that are kind of bigger in the Opensea area, and they're like, yeah, it's a cartel essentially. Like it's a cartel in that art area, and they control what is moved where essentially in that aspect. And that just doesn't seem like the path where we're trying to take in, especially in blockchain.
Right. And it's kind of interesting because, they had that one community manager, somebody over at Opensea, and so somebody caught on to the fact that the wallet, a little bit of sleuthing, right? Like, wait a minute, how are you there before it even hits the sale? It's not like they didn't know about it. They sure knew about it. I bet you it's happening so often. But again, somebody put the pieces together, one and one. It's like they say, oh, I see what's happening here. And then they made a big deal like that's not who we are and everything. And come on, how would you not know about it? You know who purchases these, it's not, especially if it's somebody internally, and especially if they're making the jump on the next project they're going to promote. So I don't know, that to me, that whole thing felt a little bit disingenuous in the way of, I don't know if they're telling the whole truth, but it's hard to say. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but it just feels a little weird. Like, how would you not know that? You seem like that would be pretty obvious to know that someone internally is doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So here's go ahead, Chip.
Putting in Professor X. Thank you for that, Professor X. Good to see you, man. It's got the big 20 pop. It's an xShroom on Zum Wallet for the win. Bing, ding, ding. There you go. Yeah, that's right on.
Yep. So here's one, Jesse. This is definitely something that a lot of people talk about, right? And there's still that big question mark over the NFT space. Now, so Kelly's asking, I still don't get the point of the little character NFTs. We see them popping up. Some of them are super, super valuable. Millions and millions of dollars are transacting through these little 16-bit characters. And then you're getting these little JPEG graphic essentially. So what, from a builder's perspective and artist perspective, you're rolling out this platform. What is the point of these little character NFTs?
I want to kind of expand on that a little bit after too about NFTs in general. But specifically for this, it's just another form of art in that area. So you have digital art, and as we're moving into this digital space, essentially what an NFT is, it's a non-fungible item that's stored on a ledger. So kind of what we were mentioning before, it has the ownership, it has all the validity in that aspect. So it's a little bit more than just just a character essentially, or just an image. And to play into that aspect, it's still art into that instance. So with that being said, I don't know if you guys have seen the other day, it was a Grateful Dead t-shirt. So the vintage Grateful Dead t-shirt, it sold for like $17,000 or something in that instance. Wow. So yeah, that's essentially, that is the original t-shirt, but how many replicas of that were out there that people got scammed, et cetera, in that instance. So that essentially would be no different than me right-clicking an image and hitting save as. It's still a replica of that original piece of art that was minted onto the blockchain. So
Right.
that's kind of where that little image drives value to that. But expanding on that, it's just kind of blowing up in this space where NFTs, a lot of things are going to be tokenized in the future. So kind of your house could be an NFT, your car could be an NFT. So anything that essentially is a non-fungible item that holds that value. As we see, I think there's some real estate, they're NFTing, they're doing that with real estate.
Yeah,
so,
Proppy's doing that.
Yep, exactly, Proppy.
And Michael Arrington sold one of his properties over in, I don't know, it was over in Europe somewhere, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm. So it's a lot more than just these like pixel characters that we see on the screen. But for this specific, I guess, demographic, it's still art in that instance. And then that's where we could, as creators, expand. So, for example, we have the metaverse coming.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are aware of this whole metaverse, essentially.
Yeah.
What that is it's social media, gaming, augmented reality, virtual reality, all
centralization, censorship, and control. The 3 C's.
Yeah, put it into a digital aspect.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is. I want to throw this up there too. XRP Speedboat says a thumbs up for xShroom on a speedboat would be awesome. Nudge, nudge. You get to see that going on. Did you see that XRP Speedboat with the cool shroom?
With a big shroom on the side of his boat. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
to get a shroom boat.
People are digging this, and I want to throw this one up. Thank you, Valacious Cornelli, if I'm saying that correctly. He said, thanks. Just put up a market order for shrooms. The Alien Base and Arthur Brito xShrooms were mind-blowing. Cannot wait for NFT on the XRPL. And we're all waiting for it. That's what's really awesome about that. That's when I came upon your project, Jebzie, I was like, this is so freaking cool. Then we started talking and started, looking at it. But it's a project that has another thing I'll say too is, okay, so it started for me back in the 70s, right? Real little kid. And, Star Wars comes out and I got the trading cards. Well, guess what? I've got all 3 original sets and I've got 6 of them signed by Mark Hamill himself because I used to work with Mark back in the 90s on a little show called .com that aired on CNBC. I was the creative director on that. And to me, it's like, and then I gave some of them away after that. But why would you care about that? They're on cardboard. They're like, they used to come in a pack of gum, and I had to buy a lot of gum back then before they started selling the sets. And then in the 90s, you had other collectibles. You also had games too, like The Gathering. You had Pokemon. You had Garbage Pail Kids. You had all of these collectibles, right? But some people, it's comic books. Like to have an original comic book, or you go an early Spider-Man, a certain number, certain time of character. So there's something bigger to it. I also collect vinyl toys. So there's a couple different artists that, groups that I like. Some of them are rare. Some I paid way too much for. And all it is a vinyl toy. It's like, but it's cool stuff. I don't know, Jess, if you're familiar with those, but they're I don't have any like his grab right now. But part of it is that it's people get into the whole idea of loving the art. It's just like it's a whole sort of of an ecosystem. And like Jesse said, it'll eventually become that. People go like, well, I don't get the whole NFT. I just download it to my computer. Yeah, but you went into the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. You walked in there. You took 15 pictures, but the picture's still hanging in the museum. You don't own it. That's the sort of equivalent. It's like you can take pictures all day long. You can put, the art up on your wall, but you don't have the original sitting there. And that's the whole idea. The original sitting, ownership on the blockchain, indelible.
Exactly.
Innumerable. It's like that is yours until you transfer it someplace else.
Yep. And then kind of touching on that, what you're mentioning with the trading cards, me personally, I kind of saw this project as similar to the pop figurines. If you guys are familiar with those, it's POP with like an exclamation mark. I'm personally not a collector of those, but I kind of see it reason being is because it's a physical object. Myself being a little bit of a minimalist, I don't want to have all these objects essentially collecting dust. So this might be a subjective take, but having a collection online works so much more better for my lifestyle in that instance. So until it starts catching on, people are going to realize, but all it is just carrying value stored on a ledger, proof of ownership, more secure, all of that, taking out the middleman. So it's just beneficial in general.
Well, I'm just wondering, they took the Banksy. There you go. Someone quick, take a picture of that. You'll own it.
You'll own it.
Oh, we can see right through it. Chip. Oh,
There you go.
That's really cool. Nice.
A whole bunch of them here. C3PO's pissed. PO'd. So all kinds of them. Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
And
So
those should be in
essentially, if
plastic.
that was quote unquote tokenized, we wouldn't have to worry if Chip was scamming us, if it was a fake card, things like that. So
Fake
with that being said,
signature.
real items are essentially going to be tokenized in the future.
And that's what I was gonna bring up also, because you talk about baseball cards or that or a piece of art or whatever it is. If you own the physical card and you have the NFT version of it, there could then you're authenticating your physical property,
Exactly.
especially if it's serialized and whatnot. If you have a piece of artwork hanging in a museum or in a gallery, and you can own, like you were talking about, a replica of it. You don't know how many of these have been printed up that are fake, but if you can get, instead of going to a shop and you get a poster that's in a frame, you can get a quote unquote original, because it would be an NFT version, and you could have some percentage of ownership potentially in the original. And then you have the representation as an NFT that's worth X, whatever. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different variables of it. People are talking in the chat, marriage certificates, real estate.
Yeah, the list goes on.
I mean, it's just on and on and on. And then you have a nice little graphic art that goes with it, to authenticate it.
Look at that. Jim D says marriage licenses will be tokenized. You got birth certificates, social security numbers will be, tokenized. So there's a whole mess of things that shrooms have intrinsic value. So it's a lot. There's a lot of cool little amazing comments here. It's really great how everybody's into the NFT. But I think we're kind of waiting for our own thing, Jesse. And I kind of like the fact that you're really waiting patiently. You're getting a community around this thing. You're doing this. People built their trust lines already. Like that thing blew up. And so when it comes to the weight, it really seems like this space could potentially blow up because the fees are going to be low, right? I mean, which will be, when I say low, they got to be better than the gas fees, right? But because the gas fees are just insane, And Jeff is always messing around with MetaMask, and every time he does it, he loses more money to gas fees and still has more money trapped over there. So
it's the worst. Oh, it's the worst.
Yeah,
I mean, it costs so much to move anything around.
Yep, exactly. Kind of touching on that, I have the website xShrooms.art, which is Web 2.0. I also purchased xShrooms.NFT, which is a Web 3.0. But I wanted to, because we're not all on Web 3.0 yet. Essentially, your browser would need to have a specific server, yada yada, and the general public just isn't there yet. So that's why I chose to keep it on Web 2.0 as of now. But what I was saying is that I went to go redirect the .NFT to the .art, and it costs gas fee just to redirect that URL to the other one. To hit save changes, it literally costs a gas fee, and it kind of just blew my mind.
Here's a good question right here, Jebzie. Does will xShrooms be on the Bifrost wallet?
That is a good question. I don't think it will be. I'm not entirely positive on that. I know because Zum has the access to set up trust lines, and Zum is specifically an XRP, like essentially cold/hot wallet. I'm not entirely sure, but I'll look into that.
All right, cool.
Essentially get it on other wallets.
Yeah, because that's a pretty cool wallet too. What else you get?
Yeah, I'm a supporter of Bifrost.
Here's a really key question right here from XRP New Zealand. Would an NFT of Gary G be a security, commodity, or liability?
I think I already know which one it would be. It'd be a liability potentially, unless it's rare. Then it could be something really cool.
It's super rare.
So, is it safe to say that you won't be creating one for Daddy G Gensler as a super rare one? Maybe
I could create one, but he's definitely not getting it gifted.
There you go. He's gonna have to pay. He's gonna have to dig into that $140 million the war chest.
Yeah,
he's gonna have to come up big for that, right? Yeah. It'll be unique, and he will own it for life, because I don't know if anybody would want it, but who knows? How about this one here? He wants to know also know Joe Lubin one, as I'm guessing as well, and. All right, there's it right there. Is there psilocybin xShrooms? Psilocybin?
That is the ingredient in psychedelic mushrooms, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
So yeah, I'm sure we could work on that. I'll make a note to have a super rare, like crazy, trippy xShroom.
Yeah, trippy xShroom would be badass.
This is also the benefit of kind of waiting, because we get to hear back from the community and see what they want. So as we're adding more attributes, we could essentially put out different polls and see what they're looking for in the art. And it's almost like a whole community effort, because they get to create these unique NFTs as we're building the foundation.
By the way, Connie says, make Daddy G pay an XRP. Nice one, Connie. Nice one. You have a garbage can under there, right?
It's the bottom of my desk.
Oh, it is. Yeah, I have that where I hit it sometimes as well. So
yeah, my apologies.
Touche, Connie. Well said. That was really good. Yeah, there's a lot of great comments here. Yeah, the NFT for Gary G says Sean Smith would be blurry and as it has no clarity.
That's a good one. That would be perfect.
Right. So it's a little bit blurry. You can't quite see it exactly. It kind of looks like
I'm not 100%
sure.
Never answers the question.
Yeah. Ani Brittle says thank you for the airdrops. So that's cool. And it's great to see the response. The community's eating it up, man. And, it's just really phenomenal to here. BZ Comedy wants to buy a fraction of Gary's crypt. That seems a little weird and morbid, but okay, if you must.
Robert Morris is hoping to get a Let's Go Brandon NFT. Get a Brandon mushroom.
And then we got to have one for Janet Yellen, who's absolutely completely lost her mind as of today.
That news kind of.
Let's Go Brenda is what Jeff invented. Let's Go Brenda. That's Janet
Brenda.
Yellen, so that's for Janet Yellen, and she's So now they want to tax unrealized gains, and then they brought this up. Jeff, when did she float that original idea? She
floated it. It was probably a couple months ago. She was floating it out there, and then they killed it, and now she's resurrecting it again. You know why they're resurrecting that is because they lost the $600 overreach, where for every $600 transaction in or out of your bank account, they want to check what's going on. Now they want that to be 10,000. Still a little, bit way too intrusive. So then she's resurrecting the unrealized gains. Now, if that's not a wake-up call to every builder, every investor, anybody, especially in this space, because this space is blowing up right now. So that whole idea of the unrealized, obviously, in the stock too, but this space is just expanding rapidly. And imagine, what their thought process is. You wouldn't be able to exist.
Mm-mm.
It's just you're constantly paying a tax on your gains. I mean, that's unrealized gains. I mean, it would be impossible to invest and benefit yourself.
But who's going to calculate it? Jeff, who's even going to calculate it? Look at this right here. It's Legendary insane. Says Yellen's hairdo looks like a mushroom.
She would actually make a good mushroom with that jacket that she wears and the hairdo, right?
I feel like somebody like wait a minute, did your nan walk out of the hospital again? What happened? Like she's like ventured onto the air and she's like, well, I mean, and we could, and like the more interviews I watch, the less faith I have. I mean, so when does the Treasury have the ability to go ahead and say, oh no, we're gonna grant the SEC the ability to deal with stable coins? I'm sorry. Treasury has no ability. That is mandated by Congress. Like we've lost all sense of how the government works. It's just like Treasury is going to let the SEC run with it and basically enforce, if you will, and oversee stable coins. I'm like, what kind of sorcery craziness are we living here? It's just, Jeff, the Treasury has no jurisdiction to allow the SEC. I'd allow no more than I would. The SEC should back off. That's what I would say right there. So
they all need to back off.
I concur.
Insane. Yeah. See, and so by the way, how long have you been into crypto? Like, what kind of like ignited your fire? When did you get started? What was like your first purchase? Like, what got you into the space?
So actually, I didn't get heavily into crypto until last year, around September of, I think it was 2020. Yeah, last year. 2020. So right before kind of everything started taking off, I got into it originally in 2017, by one of my roommates. He was like, "Hey, have you heard of?" He actually mentioned Litecoin. Litecoin was the first crypto I've heard of outside of Bitcoin.
Okay.
So yeah, that's where and then I invested a little bit into it and kind of forgot about it literally for 4 years, essentially.
Nice.
And then I checked my Coinbase wallet last September and I found a little Litecoin in there and whatnot. So yeah,
sweet.
That was the first one. And then kind of doing more research into it. I'm heavily invested in the like ISO 20022 coin, 20022 coins.
Yeah.
So essentially XRP, Algorand, I'm a big fan of, stuff like that.
Oh, very good.
That's really awesome. I mean, to get that time period, you know, just put that into perspective. So you've been into crypto about a year, and now you're building a project, you know, on the ledger.
Yeah,
on the
it's
XRP.
amazing.
I mean, that's unreal, and it's almost unheard of, you know, to start getting into a space like this. I mean, imagine, you know, you're brand new to investing in stocks, and then, you know, all of a sudden you're starting a fund, you know, and now, you know, it doesn't happen like that. You know, here you're building and you're doing something of significance, because as the NFT space is growing, you know, there's a lot of focus and attention in this direction. And to be one of, you know, it's been around for a little bit, but to be one of the first in the space to kind of feel out, especially going into the XRP ledger, how does that feel? You're going to be one of the first to actually put an NFT on the ledger.
Yeah, so that's what we're hoping for, at least with the new proposals. So there are, like I mentioned before, there are NFTs on the ledger currently. There have been first NFTs on there. But yeah, I would like to essentially lead the way with once the new proposal goes through. That being said, in this environmental friendly crypto art movement on the XRP ledger, yeah, that would be amazing.
So if you wouldn't mind, Jesse, I would like you are a designer as well as an illustrator. So I wouldn't mind just kind of showing people like a little bit about your style and what you have here. So I want to go ahead and show your personal website, because I think the artwork is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so I can touch on that too.
So we'll take a look at this right here. So there you are right there. But look at this stuff right here. I'll blow this up. So let me see if I can blow this up a little bit.
Awesome.
There you go. Look at that right there.
Through that before.
Some beautiful.
So I do gig posters for bands, essentially. So kind of like the Grateful Dead. Jam bands is kind of the area that I'm focused in. So as you see, the Higgs, Twiddle, that's one of my bigger clients that I work with a lot. I've actually done work for the Grateful Dead. You know, Phil Lesh, the bass player.
Phil Lesh,
his son Graham Lesh has a band called Midnight North. I've done work for them. So this is kind of what I'm mainly doing when I'm not doing like logos, marketing material, stuff like that.
It's really good stuff, man. Really nice stuff. I need you to get one doing for my band. No Joy Yet. I'll have to see how much it would cost me to get this. One's pretty badass. It's just they got some really uniqueness to it. You know, it almost has like that. I almost expect to see Live at the Fillmore on here. You know, like that. Almost let's throw back. You know, Grateful Dead. You know, sort of posters from.
Yep.
You know those. It's really cool, man. It's very.
That's kind of what these are. They're screen print posters. So it's the old style of printing. There's a limited amount made. They're all signed and numbered. So it's essentially going back to the artist and creating the value for these with a limited run.
And then we can see some of the logo work you've done.
Yep. These are some logos. As you see my style.
That looks like a fun place to hang out.
Look at that question right there from Doug. Would he tokenize his physical art books as an NFT? That's
that's a good question. I haven't thought about that, but I'm sure eventually when the future moves into that, it's going to be a possibility.
Like that.
So yeah, there's going to be, as you see, physical objects can be NFT'd. So as galleries move more into the space, essentially their Mona Lisa, quote unquote, just stored onto a blockchain so you could secure the ownership and know who's actually the rightful owner.
What is this Baked by Bully? Is that like a bake shop or something like that?
Baked by Bully, that's actually CBD dog treats.
Oh, interesting.
So essentially, yeah, it's if your dog is having stomach issues, stuff like that, or if they're just getting a little bit older, the CBD, it's amazing for the animals and kind of helps prep their step.
That's very cool. Very good stuff, man. Is there anything else you want to show in here while I got it pulled up?
Matt Hamilton is saying it looks like Ozark Tentacles artwork.
Yeah, that too.
And if you want to show off maybe the Squid Games xShrooms.
Oh yeah. Let me pull that up.
Those are that's pretty cool too.
So this is kind of what I plan to do inside the 10,000 minted. There's going to be like limited edition ones, kind of like I was mentioning the pop. So it's going to be various celebrities or like essentially maybe Pokemon, things like that. So very specific customized xShrooms that are going to be released to just make the collecting a little bit more fun.
Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Yep. So that's like a little set of 3. And like, for example, if you were to redeem one of the tokens and you got like the circle, now like if you were collecting trading cards, something in that aspect, you would try to collect the whole set in that instance. So that's another way that it could be used as a collectible item.
That's very cool, man. It's really great. It's really great how you can run the gamut on a lot of this stuff, right? You can really kind of get into like all kinds of different things. That's really cool because that really does sort of embody the Squid Games, the movie. So it's pretty cool. Thanks. Good stuff, man. Jesse, I'll tell you what, I mean, there's a lot of thought behind this project. Also, what I like that you've done is you really gave a lot of thought to the community, right? So in order to get this out there, you had to go community first, right? Community, trust lines. But this is somebody who really understands it, about what these projects are, giving back, and then creating stuff and listening to people. You heard a couple great sort of suggestions in here tonight. Hey, can you do this? Can you do that? What about this? What about, people are already looking at, potentially, the artwork on your site. And you do have posters on there, right? Did I see posters for sale?
Yeah, I sell posters. I also have a merchandise website. That's a little bit. It's off.
Oh man, yeah. I like the hoodie and some of the graphics you put on the t-shirts. Really.
Yeah. So I used to be a design manager. So I managed a full-on studio of 5 graphic designers. This was essentially coming out of college, and then I also worked my way up to become a general manager. And so this was kind of my projects outside of that that I just like to give out and post online pretty much. And yeah, these are all client work.
So this is cool. So if you guys want to, and I'll go ahead and drop this, I'll drop this in the chat, and it'll be in the comments below. It's not right now, but we will make sure that it's in there. But I'll throw it in here if you guys want to check it out or bookmark it. Go ahead.
Oh, the website's in the description.
Oh, is it?
Oh, this website's not. I
don't think this one is. No.
This is personal. So if, I guess you guys need any graphic design, marketing, insert promo.
Yeah, it's awesome work, and I really like this work here too. The circle farm is pretty cool. Good stuff, man.
It's outstanding. Yeah.
Yeah, it is good stuff, man. It's really good stuff. So it's just shows you the whole sort of universe of your talent, right? Are you a musician too?
I did take a guitar class back in college, but it didn't stay that much. But I know how to play a few songs like Mr. Jones and stuff like that.
All right. So I was gonna say you kind of got that. You kind of have that early grunge, Soundgarden sort of look. Early Chris Cornell sort of a vibe going on there. Which is really
get my
cool,
voice raspy, do some Cobain.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. Right there. Throw this up there. Speedboat is at it again. He says, OG in the near future. You kids these days, we used to own stuff. I like that. Speedboat.
That is good.
We used to own stuff. Remember that, Jeff? We used to own stuff. And it's like in a society where you own nothing. And
well, you know what, though? But they're changing the idea of ownership, because think about right now we have physical ownership, right? But now they're talking about digital ownership, because in our day, there was no digital ownership, right? I mean, even music, think about, Napster and all of, there was a lot of, well, we don't believe that it should be owned digitally, right? All that mentality went on. And now look at where it's gone, from free JPEGs to, you can buy a JPEG from somebody, but it's just a one-off and you have no idea whoever made that JPEG to where we're at right now. Completely different idea of ownership. I mean, it's kind of a crazy thought process.
Well, where we're going with this is going to be a different where we started, right? So a lot of it's around this now, but I mean, the whole idea of the NFT, it's like anything that doesn't exist. This is, this right here. It's like anything you can touch that's not a digital format, that the non-fungible thing, I think, is a little bit, it's confusing for people. You go, a non-fungible token, NFT, you know, and I don't know. It seems like we could have come up with some better nomenclature for that, but it is what it is, because you go to somebody else, you're like, it's an NFT. What's that? A non-fungible token. Okay. And then it just like, you know, they're out. Like, we're done, you know.
So
but
I like to use smart contract it's essentially just a contract that's smart. We have smartphones, stuff like that, smart cars.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to use that as a dumbed down term.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to understand and sort of to know what it's. And like you said, with real estate, like Proppy, they're doing amazing things, you know, in the, you know, especially with title and stuff with blockchain. Some title companies out there are just specifically dealing with title and stuff, putting on title. So it's amazing to see how fast the universe is expanding, right? I mean, the NFTs is gone wild. I mean, and Opensea is just more one of the well-known. There's also Rarible, you know, some of the other ones we mentioned. But I really think going forward, maybe 2 years from now, we'll see all of the play, you know, going on either Flare or the XRPL, right? Or a little bit of both. I think we're going to start seeing these startups now today that don't technically exist because they're not in Flare. Like, for example, Flare Finance is going to be launching their whole NFT stuff, and it's going to be cool, and they're going to be doing a really great job with it. And we'll be looking back going like, oh yeah, I mean, just like, you know, is Opensea, you know, the MySpace of its day, you know what I mean? Is like sometimes first generation, it gets a lot of market share, but maybe like what you said, you know, Jesse, something I was unaware that you brought to light was I wasn't unaware of how much centralized it was and how much control, because I know you can build in, if you wanted to build in a perpetual 15%, every time that changes hands, the creator can get 15%, right? Whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Suppose, because that's what happens, like the, you know, the Bored Ape Yacht Club and some of these other ones where, you know, they initially sold for 1.5 or 2 ETH or whatever. And then next thing you know, they're going for 170,000, $4 million, but the creator will get, you know, whatever's built into, you know, but you're saying that they can sort of bypass that and control all that?
Yeah, there's like essentially freezing metadata is possible on OpenSea. Yes.
Wow, that's rough, man. Yeah, that really, and I don't like anything, you know, that penalizes the creators. I mean, we've gone through a metamorphosis. You know, it's like every sort of industry kind of went through it. You know, computers came out, and it was like it was so hard to get something printed, but then you could do it on your computer. It's like, oh, then you can do it on, you know, all these services popped up. You know, and same with music. It's like getting a music contract. The musicians always put the work in, you know, went on the road, and meanwhile, the record companies just took them for everything they were worth and just put the, you know, the took advantage of them. So that's why NFTs are going to be big, because you'll be able to control everything in your own destiny. That's why, Jeff, we always say the same thing over and over again, which is decentralization is freedom. That's it, period. 100%. End of list, right? NFTs, whether it's NFTs, whatever it is freedom. And that's why everybody is so freaked out, especially the powers that be, the central banks, you know, all those ones. So,
yeah. Hey, it looks like, Jess, you've got great fans here. So you've got Annie, you know, just asking for the fans, where do you get your good looks from? And it looks like your brother's here as well, right? So you got
Mike.
Mike is here, yeah. So he's,
bro.
Said he's just here supporting his awesome brother.
That's awesome, man.
It's great.
So is Mike into crypto as well, or is he like into the NFT thing, or?
Yeah, I got him into crypto, and he's been doing research, and I'm proud of him because he's doing a little bit more than what some people, they kind of just skim the surface, but he's actually watching interviews. He like sends me links all the time, so he's doing good.
That's really cool, man.
It's awesome.
How about this one? How about a fish set NFT right there?
There you go.
See, there's all these cool ideas,
like
right?
All sorts of ideas that are out there.
Well, there you go, jam bands, right? So
yeah, there's endless possibilities, and that's why we're focused on building like essentially just a strong foundation and a community around that, because essentially once you have that, it just goes on from there.
Nice, yeah. And also look at this. Hans Loaded is asking when Matt Hamilton's coming back on the chain. He was just on like 2 weeks ago, so you got to give a little bit of breather, man.
Well, when are you coming back?
When you come back, all everybody goes, yeah, I'll come back anytime, like tomorrow night. They're like, Jesse, when you coming back on the chain? Will you come tomorrow night? You know, what we have to do is we should do like a whole, like, you know, a guest host, like a whole, you know, where we bring Jesse, he comes on and talks about, doesn't do any NFT stuff, just talks about, gives opinion on the news stories.
Yeah, I'm open to talk. I'm an artist, but I do enjoy talking sometimes.
Well, listen, I don't know where the hour went, Jeff. It always goes by so fast, especially when we have a cool guest on. Can you believe that? There was an hour of talking already? It's incredible.
Oh, it's
a really cool project.
Really cool.
Yeah, it's just a phenomenal project. It was really cool having you on.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys, and it was definitely an honor to be on here. And hopefully sometime if I'm down in South Florida, we could get some drinks. I
would love that, man. We're actually what people don't know, as we talked about, we're pretty in fairly close proximity to each other.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, which is kind of weird. It's like I didn't know what I reached
that way.
We reached out to you. We didn't know where you were. You know, you could have been in like Thailand. I don't know. You could have been almost anywhere.
Yeah, like, based in Florida.
Wait a minute. You're in South Florida? What? So there's that Florida connection keeps coming up, Jeff. It's getting
we got so much Florida down here. I think we're going to organize a meetup. We're going to do a South Florida meetup, and it's going to be awesome because we're going to get tons of people. There's so many people here in Florida, which is unreal. You know, we keep seeing, in the chat how many people are actually down in Florida. And I know there's a lot of people out there that in about a month's time, maybe 2 months, about a month and a half, they're going to be dying to be down here in Florida. So
January, February.
January, February is going to be a perfect time for a meetup down here. Tomorrow night, we also have another great guest coming on. We have Tony from Thinking Crypto that's going to be on with us tomorrow night. So that's going to be outstanding. Looking forward to that conversation. There's going to be a lot to really dig into, and we are going to cover many of the interviews that Tony has done, namely with Hester Purse and Garlinghouse and a few other Michael Saylor.
Giancarlo. I mean, man, it's been amazing what he's been doing.
He's been crushing it, and we want to get some of the behind-the-scenes conversation tidbits from what he went into. So that'll be tomorrow night. But Jesse, it was awesome having you on with us tonight. Hang in there just for a minute while we go through the outro, and we'll talk to you back on the out once we come offline. But any last parting words, Jesse?
I just want to say thanks for the support. I didn't expect this thing to blow up as quick as it did, but I'm putting in the work, and we're all super early in this space. So just keep that in mind. The space is still very early, and I'm just glad to be in the XRP community specifically.
Yeah. Well, it's quality. That's why it's blowing up, because there's a lot of thought behind it. The community first. Again, thinking about the community, so you give, you receive. That's how it works.
Yes, guys, please do your own research. There's a lot of scams out there. So do your own research and move on from there.
Yeah, if you're first time here, subscribe, click that notification bell. We're horrible YouTubers. We're supposed to do that at the beginning. But you know what? Like I always say, one of my favorite YouTubers. He's a musician. He's actually out of like by the Tampa area there.
Okay, that's where I went to school. I attended the University of Tampa.
His name is Doividas. He's from one of these Eastern Bloc countries, but he sits there and he just jams, where he goes to a street corner, plays all the instruments, and someone asks him to play a song, and he plays his version of it, which sometimes sounds nothing like the song. But one of the things he says at the beginning of the video is like, "Hello and thank you, one person watching my video," which will always be true, because there'll always be one person watching the video at that moment, right? So I always laugh when he says that. He goes, "Oh, you stayed till the end. Thank you, one person who stayed to the end and watched my video." So it's all very cool.
Yeah,
all right, that's it, guys.
Here, just a quick shout out here. Vladia said, "Thank you on the chain for such an awesome program tonight. Really loved it. Super excited for xShrooms." And one last one before we go, a Ron DeSantis xShroom. There you
go. I like that too.
Represent Florida.
Represent, I like a DeSantis one. That's good. We're going to run through the entire population of the globe if we continue to go. So anyway, listen, Jesse, hang out. We'll be back. We'll chat with you right after this. See you guys. Have a great one. See you guys tomorrow with Tony Edward from Thinking Crypto. See you, man. That's never happened before. Here we go.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.